representation. I've got a question, which is partly prompted by an experience outside the doctor's surgery, which was that I was getting ready to leave, and a gentleman came up to me and said, "Can you help me put on my high visibility jacket?" He didn't have the flexibility in the arms, and he sort of showed me what to do. He's obviously asked people to help him before, and I cottoned on fairly well. I was able to help him into this jacket. So you can probably guess what the question I'm going to ask you is, which is, what role do human assistants, particularly I think you call them readers, play, and how important is that role? And I think Paulius might want to answer that question.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to hear
as well.
Yeah.
So if you both have where does the sighted assistant fit into the modern digital world, if you like? That's the question I like to ask, in your own experience.
In my experience, I'll just say that it's actually gotten so much better of late, to be able to kind of like see things on the screen and know what's going on. And so what I found when I was doing the boot camp was that every once in a while I needed some help, and I would call on somebody to like read some things to me from the screen. But most of the time I was able to read what was there. Now, I didn't really explore having somebody assist me with like, what we were talking about with like checking what I was writing to see if there were obvious mistakes that could be caught much more quickly by someone, just glancing at it than I could. But one thing I wanted to mention is, for example, in the JAWS streaming software, they just introduced this year a thing called Picture Smart, which any graphic that you encounter, you can do a couple of keystrokes and it will try to do OCR on that image, whatever it is. And if it's a picture, it's more like photographic. So it would say like a person standing in front of a tree. It's not going to give you all the detail you want about like a schematic, but if it's code that somebody screenshot, it will actually read that now, whereas in the past that was completely impossible. Now, the thing I ran into was that some of the screenshots were very clear and it did a great job. Others, they like took a picture and tried to get like a huge amount of information from a screen into one little picture, and that the OCR had a really difficult time with, couldn't really, do very well at all with. So that was a problem. And the last thing I'll mention is I just noticed the other day on a site, and I don't know if this can be used in more, I don't know if it's an AI fueled thing or where, but they had like just a simple chart, and they were like a chart with an x-axis and y-axis showing blah, blah, blah. And it actually like said that to me when I encountered that graphic on the screen with my screen reader, and I've never heard that before. So that was really interesting.
Actually, to add something, when the content is some kind of very visual, for example, picture, or as Jana just said, the fragment of code in the picture or in the photo, yes, the OCR is really an option. Even nowadays, the NVDA also has built an OCR engine, which is really comfortable to use. Just with one of the keystroke and you are there. But yes, when it comes to the actual code, then OCR is not able to make it very clear. So there are some other available tools for trying to extract info from pictures. So the quite popular program using for blind people is ABB, is from AB company, is called Fine Reader. This program is able to extract the messages from pictures in variety of formats, such as Word document, text files, even HTML files and whatnot. So it's really a helpful way, and quite recently, Google Chrome browser introduced quite a popular way of describing what is in picture by screen reader users. This feature also is very cool and works really well, and I can say from the experience that it recognizes even code from photo really good, and I would say even better than OCR does. And what else? Actually, it's very important for example, when in websites we can see really lots of graphics, lots of images. So the way the creators of websites often forget is they're adding the appropriate alt text messages because it's really one of the ways that enables picture describing by screen reader automatically itself by providing these alt texts. And lots of developers just don't know about this, maybe, and do not implement alt texts, but these actually are also very helpful. So this is about recognizing information from pictures. And when we come a little bit deeper about some maybe things from computer, when maybe screen reader crashes, or in some environment where it is not working, for example, in some kinds of Java IDEs where there are required some specific settings like Java Access Bridge to be enabled, then it could be helpful for maybe some things like using the phone, and there are such apps like
bemyeyes.
Yes, bemyeyes, and one ID Pro is also a good app which has an ability to take a photo of screen, and also quite reasonably well puts output straightly into screen. So yes, maybe I think these are the most commonly used methods for getting information when screen readers sucks.
As far as like human assistance, though, I did want to quickly jump in and say about bemyeyes. That is a app that was developed, and sighted volunteers sign up, and if they are available, they kind of like put that they're available, and then if a blind person needs help with something, they can use this app on their phone. It connects them to one of the people who says they're available, and they can ask them whatever question they want, like what kind of soup is this in the can that I have in my hand. Now, what people said at our meeting the other week was, wouldn't it be great if there was kind of a specialized, like coders who were willing to help in that way, who would, so that you knew that you would have somebody who would know what they were seeing. Because I have called that kind of thing before and had them just read some things to me straight off. But of course, they're all like, oh, there's a little, squiggly thing, and, things like that. So like having somebody who understands what they're seeing.
Yes, it would really be definitely, I think it would be definitely good to have such an organization, not only for coders, but also, for example, for reading something from math side, maybe from something like math formulas. But yes, these people should be primarily quite expert, quite in level of expert when doing these things.
And often you just need one little, like piece of information, and then you can move on independently and do what you need to do. So yeah, it's not like you have to have an assistant waiting around for you to ask for their help, all the time.
Jane, is this app put out by a company? What's the situation there?
It is, I mean, it's a I think it's also on Android. It's an iOS and Android app.
Right.
So it started by sort of an individual, but he has a company that's called bemyeyes.
But they are mainly volunteers and individuals. Yeah. I think they do not have such an official organization.
I see.
They are just a group of interested people to, and this is worldwide, and it means they, for example, if something calls from maybe, let's say, from Germany, the program tries to find the assistance even in the Germany, and it,
right.
So it tries to connect the people from the same country. And